Hello everybody. So this video is on how to check and add transmission fluid to your 2008 CTS 4 all-wheel drive Cadillac. This vehicle does not have a transmission dipstick check tube, and so it's a difficult thing to check the transmission fluid in. Now, what you do is there is what looks to be a drain plug underneath the vehicle. This one here is what is your check tube. And what I mean by check tube is when you take that plug out, it's connected to a tube that goes up into the transmission and ends at the proper transmission fluid level in the transmission. So, when you're filling the transmission, you have this plug out. And when it starts to come out of this hole and drip into your pan, that's how you know you have the proper amount of transmission fluid in. And then you put the plug back in. Now, the fill hole. This is where things get interesting. Alright. Let's see if I can get a glimpse of it here. I gotta get a different angle. Man, I don't know if the light on my camera is going to let us get in there. Okay, yeah, you can barely see it. See it right there, right at the tip of my finger? That is the top of it. Now, it's like a cork with a lock plug through the center of it. So to get that cork out of the transmission, you have to pop the center lock up, and then that relieves the pressure on the diameter of the plug, and you can then remove it. Now, they probably make a nice set of pliers with a 90-degree angle, like a long set of needle nose pliers with a 90-degree angle on them. And that would probably be ideal for getting this plug out. Or you could take the front wheel drive shaft that is like 12 or 10 Allen keys total. That's 12. And I don't know, I did not take the drive shaft out on this job, but if you can't do it, if you fail, if you take the drive shaft out, I'm sure that will make it much easier. So, you're going to need a pump. You're going to need a transmission, not a transmission fluid pump, but you're going to need a pump. And I'll show you mine. And then I'll explain exactly how you do it. This is the stuff you're going to want to use. You know, your Dextron 6 is the appropriate fluid for this vehicle. It's a 2008 CTS 4. Dad, where's that pump at?
Over on the side, yeah.
Ah, here it is. Alright. So this is a good one to use. And now there's a trick. Right? You fill it from that cork that goes, you know, in the transmission vertically. You know, you got to pop it up and out. Well, you got to get this hose to go, you got to get it to go up and back down into the hole. And I struggled for a long time until I worked this out right here. This wire with a nice 180-degree bend in it. What you do is you feed a straight wire, feed the straight wire into the tube, and then you just bend the tube with a nice bend in it, you know, and that wire will hold the tube in that orientation. I'll do it real quick and show you. Alright, so there you go, right? It's alright that it's kinked off. The pressure of the pump will make the hose swell back up when you're starting to pump the fluid in there. But this right here will save you a bunch of time and struggling, and this will make it easy to hook it down into that hole. Because, I mean, you've seen there's like no space at all to work. And the hot exhaust is right there. The vehicle needs to be running. So, being able to get in and out of there quick is nice. It needs to be up to operating temperature. That's like between like 100 and we'll say 50 to 190. It's probably a decent range. You know, the hotter you let it warm up, the less fluid you'll need to put in. But if you want more fluid than less, then you probably want to start putting the fluid in before it gets totally warmed up. That way you'll have a little extra when it actually warms up. Anyway, so the car needs to be level. What we did was we put a level on the rocker panel. When the car was sitting in the street, the level showed good sitting with the car sitting level. So when we got it in the driveway, we jacked it up until the level showed good again. Right? Pop that plug out, the fill plug. Pop the fill plug out. Let the car warm up to that temperature range. And then you take out the plug that's in the pan. And that plug in the pan, you need to have a drain pan under it. And then you can start filling that spot up top, that cork plug that goes in the top there that I showed you next to the drive shaft. You start filling it there, and you need to cycle it through the gears. It's probably good to have two people, somebody help you, your girlfriend, your wife, your buddy. Somebody run it through the gears. I don't know if you want to be underneath the car when they're doing that, but you know, set the e-brake. Make sure they keep their foot on the brake. Maybe don't get underneath the car. Have jack stands. Here, I'll show you where I put my jack stands. This is a good spot here. It's very strong. 2 jack stands. And keep the jack under there. That's an extra safety. But here's the pan. And once we filled it, it started coming out the tube just a little bit. Once it stopped, you put that plug back in the pan, and you gotta get your cork. You gotta get that cork back in the fill hole before you turn the car off. That's important. If you don't have that cork in the transmission locked, when you turn the vehicle off, transmission fluid will come pouring out of that hole. So, car's running this whole time, you know, you leave the car running during the whole procedure. Once you got the pan plug in and you got your fill plug in, then you can turn the car off. But that's it. Thought I'd share that with you guys. I'm sure there's a few people out there wanting to check their transmission fluid on their Cadillac, and they're like, where is the transmission dipstick tube? Well, no transmission dipstick tube on this vehicle. I think they make a specialty tool. I didn't really look into it because we had these parts, we were ready to do it. I think there's a specialty tool that you can screw into that pan, that plug that's in the pan, there's like a tool that you can screw into that and use that to fill the transmission. I'm not sure on that procedure, but if the one I'm explaining didn't work out for you, then maybe that's the good route to go. Also, these cars have a reputation for having the transmission cooler in the radiator fail, and when that happens, coolant goes into your transmission, and that will that will make the transmission go bad. Obviously, that'll ruin a transmission quick. So the lines on this car were the transmission cooling lines on this car were a little iffy up there up front where they went into the radiator. So we did an external cooler, and I think you can see it right there. It's like $50, and it's external, and you will not have to worry about coolant going into your transmission fluid if you route that into the system. But that's all I got. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, questions. All of it I appreciate. You know, watch some of my other videos. I do stuff to this Corvette. We've had it at Daytona. I love cars. I'm always working on stuff, so I'll have new videos posted up. Appreciate your viewing. Have a good one.